Everyone knows Angkor Wat. The 5 stone towers, the moat, the most famous temple on earth. 2 million people a year walk through it. But here is what almost none of them know. The temple was never the city. It was just the part that did not rot. For 600 years, an entire metropolis spread out around it, bigger than anything in medieval Europe, and then it vanished so completely that we mistook a world capital for a temple in the woods. In 2012, a laser finally found the rest of it. Rewind 1,000 years. Angkor was the capital of the Khmer Empire, the great power of Southeast Asia. From the 9th century to the 15th, Khmer kings ruled a kingdom that stretched across much of the region from this one spot. Angkor Wat itself was raised in the early 1100s by a king named Suryavarman II, as a temple mountain to the heavens. And it was only one of hundreds. The Khmer built temple after temple here, in sandstone and laterite, covered in carving. But stone temples were for the gods. The people, the houses, the markets, the roads, all of that was built in wood and earth. And wood and earth do not survive 800 years in a jungle. When the empire fell, the jungle did what jungles do. It moved in. The wooden city burned, rotted, and disappeared into the soil. Trees grew up through the temple courtyards, roots prying the stones apart, until places like Ta Prohm looked less like buildings and more like something the forest had grown on purpose. For centuries, visitors saw the temple standing alone in the trees and drew the obvious conclusion. This was a religious site, a cluster of shrines in the wilderness. They had no idea they were standing in the middle of what had once been one of the largest cities on the planet. The breakthrough came in 2012. An archaeologist named Damien Evans led a project to fly LIDAR over Angkor. LIDAR works like radar made of light. A helicopter carries a scanner that fires hundreds of thousands of laser pulses a second at the ground below. Most bounce off leaves, but enough slip through the canopy to map the soil underneath, and a computer erases the forest to reveal the bare earth. They flew it over the temples and the empty jungle around them. And when the trees came off the map, the ground was not empty at all. It was covered, edge to edge, in the ghost of a city. What the laser revealed was staggering. Around and between the temples lay a vast grid, streets, canals, embankments, ponds, and the raised mounds where thousands of wooden houses once stood. Whole neighborhoods, laid out in an orderly pattern, stretching for kilometers in every direction. This was not a temple complex with a village attached. This was a sprawling, planned, low-density city, and the famous temples were just the stone monuments standing inside it. A second, even larger survey in 2015 extended the map further still, confirming it. Greater Angkor covered something like 1,000 square kilometers. By some estimates it was the most extensive city on Earth before the Industrial Age. The laser did more than fill in the map around Angkor. It found cities nobody knew existed. North of the temples rises a plateau called Phnom Kulen, the sacred mountain where the Khmer Empire was founded. When LIDAR scanned it, the jungle gave up an entire lost city named Mahendraparvata, complete with a grid of streets, dams, and shrines that had been swallowed by forest for over 1,000 years. A capital older than Angkor Wat itself, hiding the whole time on a mountaintop, a few hours from one of the most visited monuments on Earth, and nobody had ever mapped it. To run a city this size, the Khmer did something extraordinary. They re-engineered the water itself. Southeast Asia lives and dies by the monsoon, half the year drowning, half the year bone dry. So Angkor became a giant machine for controlling water. The LIDAR maps show it clearly. A network of canals and channels, and enormous artificial reservoirs called barays. The West Baray is 8 kilometers long and still holds water today, 800 years later. They captured the wet season, stored it, and released it through the dry months to feed their rice fields and their people. For centuries, it worked. It made them rich. And then it turned on them. In the 1400s, Angkor fell, and the leading theory for why is hiding in that water machine. Tree rings from the region record something brutal in the same era. Decades of harsh drought, broken by years of violent, flooding monsoons. A water network that size is incredibly powerful, but it is also rigid. Built for normal seasons, it could not absorb wild swings. Drought starved it. Then the floods tore through the canals and silted them up faster than they could be repaired. The very system that had made Angkor the greatest city in the world may have become too big and too brittle to save when the climate turned. War and shifting trade finished the job. The machine broke, and the city it kept alive broke with it. Here is what gets me about Angkor. This was never a secret in the jungle that nobody could reach. Angkor Wat has been a tourist site for over a century. Millions of people have stood on its causeway and taken the same photograph. And the whole time, the real story, an enormous vanished city and the climate disaster that ended it, was lying a few feet under the grass all around them, invisible. It took a laser in a helicopter to see what everyone had been walking on. Which makes you wonder what else is sitting just under the surface of the places we think we already understand. And it is happening everywhere now. The same laser that mapped Angkor is peeling back jungles around the world. It found tens of thousands of unknown Maya structures in Guatemala. It is uncovering whole networks of lost cities in the Amazon. Every place we assumed was empty wilderness is turning out to be somebody's abandoned home. We spent centuries believing that great civilizations only rose where we could still see their ruins. We were wrong. They rose in the rainforest too. They just built in materials the forest could eat, and then the forest ate them, and we forgot. The laser is how we remember. So the next time you see that postcard of Angkor Wat, the 5 towers and the moat at sunrise, remember that you are looking at the gravestone, not the grave. The city is all around it, under the trees, mapped now in glowing lines on a screen, waiting for the next team to dig where the laser points. Most of this planet has still never been scanned this way. The lost cities are not gone. They are just under the leaves, and we finally built the eyes to find them. Go look up the Angkor maps for yourself. They are public, and they are astonishing. I am August Vane. Watch the ground.